Hey guys, thanks for tuning in once more. Back again for another two chapters of the Warden, chapters 7 and 8. Aim to get through them as quickly as I can. Hopefully the sound's a little bit better. Trying to adjust it and work it out on here. It's all new to me, but I think and I believe we are ordering a better mic system. So for anybody who keeps watching, listening, hopefully it'll get better as time goes on. Right, now I'm going to crack on with the next chapter, which leaves us on to Morgue. And once again, we're back with Alice. If you remember last time, she was with Elsie and had a very, very lucky escape. Right, and 3, 2, 1. Bodies covering the nearby walls and floor as a headless body lies a little ahead of me, dressed in rags. A thick scratch line now runs the entire length of the corridor. Could have only been the Warden's cleaver that has done all this work. Elsie is no longer chasing me. She has stopped at the thick line of salt. Placing one of those fleshy hands on it, one of the ones that grew out of her back, she starts screeching in pain and writhing in agony as the salt burns away at the arm. It is almost like it is eating away at the flesh, disintegrating it before my eyes. It is a good job the salt has stopped her in her tracks. Thanks to the overwhelming amounts of blood in the corridor, I find myself skidding around and careering into a wall. My face, hands, front of my legs, and dress are covered in warm blood. I would have been freaking out over this, but my mind and eye stay focused on Elsie as she continues to twist her body parts. Around and around they go, snapping and cracking as they do. What little bile I have left in my stomach comes up to greet the bloodied corridor. Elsie takes a leap at the doorway, causing me to scramble backwards. Again, I am thankful to the salt as it acts like a barrier and repels the creepy bitch back. Still holding on tightly to the videotape and a crumpled up piece of paper soaked in blood, I have a piece of the puzzle needed to escape. I just need to get myself to the rec room. Thanks to Elsie though, my knowledge of the building layout has all but disappeared from my mind. I had even studied that damn map. For now I just have to be grateful for my life. What other hells await me in this place? First that man with 100 faces, then these men with sacks over their heads, and now this thing that resembles a child. Well done. You managed to escape Elsie's lair intact. That videotape will contain half the code to unlock Sector 2, and a code for the safe zone. I strongly advise getting to the rec room fast as daylight is approaching. Daylight comes, you will not have many places to hide. A man's voice was talking to me, but no matter where I look, I don't see or find anybody. Do not bother to look for me. I'm inside your ear, a little device I have one of my colleagues plant. My name is Tighe, and I am going to help you win this game. I watch over every camera in this building. In certain areas they don't work though, especially the cameras near the dead. The man spoke bluntly, but can he really get me out of here? Can you? I tried to speak, but I am cut off. Do not ever reply to me. If the governor finds out we're communicating, we will both find ourselves in the mad doctor's operating room. Now then, I am not doing this out of the goodness of my heart. 50 million is my asking price. Nod your head if you agree to the terms. What choice do I have? 50 million to get me out of here and back to my family is a price I am willing to pay. Nodding my head gently, I notice that Elsie has slinked off. I wonder if she went back down the stairs. Okay, now that the fee is settled, I shall do my best to keep you alive when I can. I cannot be directing you all the time at every moment. There will be only minutes every now and then where I can converse with you like now. By now I take it you believe in the dead. I nod my head slightly, making it look more like a shiver as I get to my feet. The mad doctor implanted something within your eyes that should allow you to see them more than the other cellmates. Our cameras have the same tech, but the spirits jam them frequently. For now, I need you to walk south, then take your first right and head through the morgue. You will have to sneak through. The morgue is Butch's playpen, and he is currently having fun with several other captives. He should be distracted enough to not notice you if you are quiet. Be careful, the captives don't spot you either. Two of the people tied up in there are not very nice people, if you get my drift. After you get out of the morgue, continue straight to the very end of the corridor, and then take a right. The rec room is the first door on the right, but don't stay there. A low crackle crackles into my ear. So if I follow this man's instructions, I have a chance of living, but even so, there are many enemies and horrors within this place. For some reason, I am drawn back to the salted doorway. Humming can once more be heard in the distance. Just to be sure Elsie isn't in the stairway, I check it over, including the ceiling. The thought of running into her scares the god right out of me, and I am a true Christian believer. But as long as she is kept contained, there is nothing much she can do. I recall the governor stating that there could only be one winner. Without knowing what has gotten into me, I kick away the line of salt from the door. Whether this is a good thing or not, I will soon find out. Elsie owes me for this, but I doubt she will care if she spots me again. No sooner do I sweep away the salt than the soft, mellow humming stops. Don't tell me she is aware already. I can't stay here any longer. It's high time I run in the direction Tighe told me to go. Leaving behind a trail of bloody footprints, I pray Elsie doesn't follow them, or any of the crazies. I feel sorry for anyone else that crosses her path, but I need to survive for my kids and myself. It is survival of the fittest. I haven't even been here more than 6 hours, but it feels like all this intense fear is waking something primal inside of me. Hurrying down the dark hall, I pause at a junction. The sound of heavy breathing along with a dragging sound makes me stop. Creeping up to the corner of the wall, I stay close, as I so slightly poke my head around. There is this huge guy dragging a dead captive, or at least I think he's dead. He has a hook going into his chest, and the big man dressed in leathers and a gas mask is pulling him along with a chain. I do not recognise the poor young helpless man as he leaves a trail of blood on the floor. The gas mask man must be Butch. He is having trouble breathing, no doubt due to his weight, but how has he gotten so fat in this place? Slowly but surely he drags the man through plastic flaps that cover the double doorway. Above the door is a lit sign that reads morgue. I am most certainly in the spot that I should be, but why do I have to go through there? Is there seriously no other way to go? Proceeding to watch the man dressed in blue shorts and a black t-shirt as he is dragged through the flaps, the thought of what Butch is going to do with him enters my mind. Guess I will find out soon enough as I sneak through the plastic flaps myself. They feel cold as they press against my skin. Quietly and quickly as I can, I follow the trail of blood inside. It is freezing cold in the room and dark. There are lights in the distance and I can hear the sound of people mumbling. Pressing on through another set of hanging plastic flaps, I have to dive behind a bunch of barrels. The videotape falling from my grasp and sliding into what looks like a pile of guts. I can't believe what I am seeing. The morgue itself is huge. Four mortuary tables line the middle of the room as it stretches a fair bit into the distance. Each table has a naked person strapped down with straps and buckles. Each one has a filthy cloth shoved down their throat. Bright circular lights shine down over each of them, just like on an operating table. The people tied down are mumbling. Most have tears running down their faces, apart from the girl, and she seems rather familiar too. In total, there are 3 males and 1 young female tied down to the marble slabs. This is not including the poor man Butch has hauled through the room. Butch continues to drag the man. His breathing is heavy, so heavy that his breath escapes the gas mask and clouds the air. He only stops when he reaches an overhanging chain connected to a winch-like device. Picking the man up by his feet, he begins to attach him to the overhanging chain so he dangles upside down. The room is supposed to be tiled white as some of the paintwork shines through, but there is so much blood and body parts scattered around, it looks like a massacre has taken place here, and no doubt it most likely has. How many people has this Butch captured and dragged here to meet their demise? Dozens by the looks of the body parts scattered around. To my horror, I watch as Butch pulls out a long machete. Stripping the t-shirt off the young man, he runs a blade down the man's gut and chest, peeling his flesh wide open. Gut, stomach, oh lord. It just all falls out with a splat as it hits the floor. Butch is laughing as he drives a hand into the dead man's body, forcing open the ribs with a loud crack so that the other organs begin to hang out. 3 of the people on the slabs, all male, begin to shake, desperate to break free from their bonds. The girl seems relaxed. Either that or she has accepted her fate. Without help, there is no way any of them are leaving those tables alive. Butch continues to laugh as he peels a dead man. He's treating him as if he is a pig or any other farm animal that is strung up and bled out. No matter what, I can't allow anyone to catch me. Moving behind the barrels where the video tips has slid to, my hand lands in a pile of guts, causing me to squirm. Even though my hand is covered in someone else's guts, I clasp it tightly to my mouth. Shuffle. Shuffle. Shit. Butch is on the move. I wait a moment, staying motionless. I even count to 60 to make sure it is not me he is heading towards, but his footsteps never come this way. It seems he failed to hear me. I could hear him clearly though, at the back of the room, messing with metal objects, and because of his size, he shuffles rather than walks. I think he is too fat to lift his own legs properly. With a quick bang, a radio turns on, blaring out heavy rock music, and as loud as it is, I can still hear him clattering about. What on earth is he looking for? Poking my head up over the blue barrels once more, I notice Butch pull out a chainsaw. He's pulling the cord until it starts whirling with a horrid metallic noise. It is filthy and covered in all manner of things. With the music playing and the chainsaw whirling, it is safe to make my move. No sooner do I stand up, all of Butch's prisoners go up at me. They are screaming at me through the cloths in their mouths. Well, the men are. The girl once more remains calm and silent. Is she even alive? Either way, they want me to release them. Butch is rather busy with his toy, hacking lumps out of the strung-up carcass in the far corner. Silently, I creep out from hiding, leaving the tape where it is for now, as I rush over to the first marble slab. Searching the fixed straps for the buckles, I begin to undo them quickly. Untying the first man, he flees the room, never even saying thanks. Isn't like I needed to do this, could leave them all to die. I know it a minute later as the chainsaw continues to whirl and strip flesh from the bone. I have unstrapped the other guy. He too runs for all he is worth. His fat man boobs wobbling as he thunders off. At least the next man is polite enough to whisper a thank you before he ups and leaves in the same direction as the other men. Butch's chainsaw begins to jolt and gnaw as it slows down. It is filled with too much grated flesh. Butch begins banging on it and pulling the cord. In the end, he gets frustrated with the thing and throws it onto the floor in a huff. Sensing he is about to turn around, I duck down, hiding by the side of the last mortuary slab that the quiet girl is laying on. Her arm is slightly dangling off the table, but it's just enough to make me notice something rather peculiar, even in this situation. A tattoo on the girl's wrist is identical to the one my Becky has. It is a rose wrapped in thorns. Brrrr! Oh yeah, Butch does not seem happy. He storms right past me and over to the empty slabs. I quickly reposition myself around the other side of the girl's slab so Butch can't see me. He is furious and raging. Hearing what sounds like his machete being unsheathed, followed by shuffling sounds, Butch tries to run out of the morgue. Phew, he is gone for now. Leaping up, I begin to untie the girl with matted blonde hair, but find she is already free. She has cut her bonds with a knife she must have hidden when she was caught. I had seen this girl before in the cells, curled up in a ball, crying as the warden entered. I noticed that this girl is my Becky. What on earth is my little girl doing here, and with a makeshift knife? What the devil was she planning to do? Becky springs up fast from the cold marble slab, stained in all manner of liquid. She rips the cloth gag out of her mouth and grabs hold of me. Stupid bitch! You ruined everything! Hey, Butch, get your fat ass back here! The one freeing your victims is here! My mouth failed to move. What are you doing, Becky? Before I could even utter out a word, Becky throws my head against the slab table before sprinting off. My vision is blurring as I fall back onto a heap of sawn off flesh and discarded organs. I feel my own blood trickling down my face. My own daughter has assaulted me. Does she know it is me? I'm covered in an awful lot of blood and dirt. She must not have realised it was me. But even so, why would she do something like this to someone? On second thoughts, how does she know that fat man's name? Seems too dim-witted to speak, and I figure Tighe called him Butch because of his size. Shaking my head to try and regain focus of my vision, I try to stand, but my body is just flailing around. The blood does not make matters any better either, as I find myself slipping. Even if I run now, the damn tape was behind the waste crates. Shuffle, shuffle. No, no. Butch is on his way back, and I still can't stand, and my vision is still a mess as the lights whiz all around me. I hear the flapping of the plastic as Butch enters his domain. Reaching out for a weapon, my hands grip the chainsaw. Butch had tossed to one side. Come on then, you piece of junk. Work, damn it, work! Screaming. I keep pulling the cord as I get to my feet and regain focus. Butch is rushing at me, staying machete in hand. His mask is steaming up from how much energy he's exerting, but before he can reach me, the chainsaw begins to whirl and grind as it spins to life. You want some of this, you fat bastard? Butch stops dead in his tracks. He's weighing up his options. Does he come at me with a machete and test my resolve, or does he back down? Time to see if he is as stupid as he looks. Butch charges. He fucking comes at me. Try as I can to swing the lofty chainsaw, it is heavy, and as Butch gets close, I swing it with as much power as I can. Butch slashes for my throat, but misses. He still peels open my left cheek easy enough, and it hurts like hell. As for me and the chainsaw, it hacks away at Butch just above his pelvis, cutting him in half. Screaming as I continue to drive the saw into him, blood splatters all over me. I can hear the chainsaw chattering against the man's spine. Butch drops to his knees and the machete falls from his hand. Have I just killed someone? My hands quickly back away from the chainsaw. Butch falls forward towards me. I've killed him. I've killed him. I've killed someone. It was self-defense. I swear it was. I didn't want to kill him. I figured he would have just backed away. Why the hell did he not back away? And with that, that concludes chapter 7. So, Alice gets her first taste at killing somebody, which rather blunt and to the point. But then you also had her daughter on the slab. And with regards to earlier chapters as well, she was mentioned already as being Pretty Peach, and one of the ones that brought her family here. So that was that was called out already in the book. So I don't know whether any of you picked up on that tidbit of information. But with that alone, Alice still has no idea what is in store with her daughter, and she's been in here, 6 hours now, and her mind's breaking slowly, piece by piece, which is perfect for me. I very much enjoyed breaking it, but there's still a lot more to do, and she's going to get a lot more broken before this even ends. Just leave her in a putrid mess. Now, the next chapter, chapter 8, is somebody new. Now, earlier chapters, they were talking about releasing an ex-SAS guy named Sean, who used to have Tighe's job. This is who we're going on to next. Now, I can safely say that none of the people in this book, minus the odd few, are good people. They are all bad people, usually. All of them. In some form or way, it can be petty theft or anything. Usually they're all bad people. Anyway, let's move on to chapter 8. And this chapter is called Sean, and we are Sean. Why must we release this guy? Bud, I am telling you that he is trouble. As soon as we open that door, he will kill us both. We'll die for nothing. I for one would rather go and face the bagheads. Shut your yap, Dave. Orders are orders. We get paid well enough to do it. Tighe said that he's unlikely to kill us. I can hear two men having a bitter argument outside my cell door. No doubt they are mercenaries, but their voices seem unfamiliar to me, which means fresh recruits. How long have I been detained now? Months? A year? 2 perhaps? Everything is such a blur now, but it can't be more than a year. Food is brought to me once a day, and it is no bigger than a child's portion. Right now I am withering away. All my muscle mass has shrunken, and my black combat uniform has become loose around my body and tatty over the edges. When they captured me, they made sure to shackle my hands and feet. Every time I move, the chain links rattle loudly, echoing out into the corridor and attracting some unwanted attention. Too long have I rotted away in here just waiting for the governor to put me down, but these two men are bickering about releasing me. Has the governor lost his mind? I know his dirty little secrets and what really goes on down in the mad quack's labs. These so-called horror games are nothing more than a front, a way for that sick and twisted family to generate serious revenue. The profit from the games are unfathomable. This world is filled with sick-minded people. 7 years I have been here. Jones and I were promised good money to oversee prisoners being used like lab rats in this streamed viral show. Back then, the captives were all criminals. Most of them banded together and formed some of the psychotic groups that now run individual sections of the prison. I wasn't opposed to watching rapists, serial killers, and paedophiles get their just desserts. I mean, who would honestly complain? I rather enjoyed watching them slaughter each other, or the dead butcher them. Around my 6th year here, they had started to use ordinary civilians, when it became apparent they could no longer get their hands on criminals, and that was when me, Jones, and my men began to object. It was gory enough watching the criminals picked apart, but to know innocent people were being subjected to this game was a sickness I could barely stomach. Even so, I stuck it out for one more year, right up until I managed to activate the cameras in the labs. After that, my eyes were open to the horror the governor was trying to create. To him, this prison was a small piece of heaven. He wanted to make the world just like this game. Worst thing I ever did was confront the man. No one had ever seen his true identity anyway, except for the mad doctor. And with limited access to the island, I had to confront him over radio. He seemed disappointed in me and offered me even more money. At this point, all the money in the world could not budge my conscience. I demanded one thing only from him, to release me and my son and let us get off the island safely. In exchange, I would not breathe a word. An agreement was struck, but the governor double-crossed me. He set the damn clowns on Jones and then sent his own personal military hit squad to wipe me and the rest of my men out. They outmatched us in firepower and outmatched my men in military experience. It was a slaughter that even the crazies want to forget, as many of them died in the crossfire. For 3 days I stalked the shadows where the camera lenses couldn't reach, and little by little I picked them off. There were 20 in total, and between me and the dead there were only 8 remaining by the time they cornered me. Honestly thought I would be shot dead, but instead they tossed my ass in the can and left me to rot. I'm telling you, bud, he will fucking kill us. I heard from Tighe that this nut was former SAS. Again, the two idiots bickering back and forth outside my door. Do they want to alert Walter, the night guard? That name, however, Tighe, reminds me of someone. Surely it can't be him. All my unit were wiped out by the kill squad. These new mercenaries must have been brought in after to replace us. If this is the same Tighe, then how did he survive? Well, if they plan to release me, it best be done soon. They're making too much noise, and if Walter does show up, it will not be good for any of us. Not to mention I've truly had enough of this cell, which only has a bed and a piss bucket in. Hey, if you two jackasses are going to let me out, then hurry it up and keep your voices down. I walk to the cell door lightly, banging my hands on it so that it rattles a little. Both men have lost their tongues as they stop speaking. I can hear them stepping back from the door and raising their guns. Just let me out already. I promise I won't lay a hand on you guys if you just get me the hell out of there and get these cuffs off. No, no one answers from behind the cell door, so I begin to bang a little more. Stepping away from the cell, sighing heavily, I hear a key click into the lock. Thank God. Finally, I'm going to get out of here at last. When the door flies open, 2 men stand shaking, their MP4s pointed at me. I don't like this. They're so damn nervous their fingers are on the triggers. Any moment now they can accidentally fire. Listen guys, I said it before and I'll say it again. I will not harm you. Can you get these cuffs off me? Stepping forward out of the darkness and into the corridor light, both men back away to the far brick wall. We are on the 4th floor, the most heavily guarded floor in the building, as there are so many security checkpoints and steel gated doors to pass through. I look at both of the men dressed in the same attire as me. Only difference is they are wearing gas masks, just like the men who had assaulted my unit. Holding out my hands in the hopes they will remove the shackles or strike up a conversation to ease the men. I'm also curious about the masks. So, how come you guys are wearing those masks? Is there a chemical leak? I ask, but only one man answers me. He seems much older than the other one. It is now part of our uniform. Helps keep some of the crazies at bay. We have always had to wear them. The only person who doesn't is Sigid. How is good old Sigid these days? I ask politely, and even smile through my great black bushy beard. You know Sigid? The man seems confused. Perhaps I don't know this man, but Sigid is an unusual name, so I doubt many have the same name in this line of work. About to ask another question, the startled younger man speaks up. Are you really former SAS? Laughing a little, I pull up my sleeve to show off my Who Dares Wins tattoo. The younger man seems genuinely impressed, and his finger falls away from the trigger. So why am I being released? And can you please get these cuffs off me? I can barely move without them chafing me. The younger man falls silent as the older one speaks. We do not have the keys to your shackles. We didn't even know you were bound. Our orders are to escort you down to Sector 1 and then release you. You have now been chosen to be a participant in these horror games. A chance to win back your freedom. I spit on the floor and hold up my shackles. Freedom? You're going to toss me in a nest of crazy lunatics and other forms of crazy while shackled. Every step I take will give away my position. Placing my hands behind my head, I look at the two men. Shoot me. There is no use going into Sector 1 to end up tortured. So just do it now and give me a quick death. Been begging for death long enough. Neither of the men know what to do. Both are now confused. Which is good. They can't disobey orders, so they will eventually take me to Sector 1. No doubt these two men expect to release a brutal killing machine, and instead they find this 45-year-old guy with long black and grey hair and a huge bushy black beard. Sure, it had killed plenty, but that cell had made me wither away. As much as it had made me wither away, I am determined to do one thing. I'm going to kill these men. A chance to win my freedom, though. The governor just wants to air another execution to his sick followers. Better to profit from my death than kill me behind the scenes. The older of the two mercenaries is trying to radio through to his boss, Sigid, but all he is receiving is static. If the radio is down, then there is a high chance the cameras are down too. This corridor is frequently patrolled by the dead night watchman, and he is a foul bastard. Radios and cameras do not work, or won't work well when the dead are nearby. And in this place, the spirits are more deadly than the living. Right now I have created the perfect scenario for myself. With the noise we have all made, there is no doubt in my mind the guard is coming, and when he does that will be my chance to kill these men and make an escape. With their guns and ammo, I will be fine in this prison. I can also shoot the shackle chains to give myself better movement. For now though, I will honour my word by not attacking them. Forget the radio and remember what you were taught. I barked at them whilst putting down my hands, creating even more noise and panic. The older man looks at me, gun still aimed at my chest. You're right. Can you walk that way, please, so we can continue to Sector 1? I will shoot you if I have to, regardless of orders. No need to shoot. I'll comply. I'm sure I will figure a way to get these shackles off and win my freedom. After all, someone needs to stop the governor. Both men look at each other again, confused. The governor has some truly terrible ideas for the world, and it is true that someone has to stop him, but I don't give a rat's ass about saving people or the world. I just want to kill him with my bare hands for what he's done to me and my boy, and after him, those fucking clowns. And that concludes Chapter 8, and we meet one of my favourite characters, Sean. As badass as he is, he's tapped in the head, which we'll get around to more later. Yeah, withered away and insane. So he's diminished in power. I'll call it power. He's lost a lot of his muscle mass. He's been locked in a cell, unable to do anything, bound and chained, and now he's being thrown into Sector 1 with the games in full swing with shackles on. When creating Sean, I really did enjoy creating him. usually Zompot books or something, they always have that one person who's really experienced in all forms of combat, who know what they're doing, and the rest of the shit. I created Sean with all that combat experience and yada yada yada, and then I'm going to throw him into the wolves. But we're going to see just how quickly this can turn around for all his experience and the rest of it. Now, we mentioned the kill squad, who actually tracked down and captured Sean in that chapter, and we will touch along them much later. But as it stands, it says it killed 8 of them. We will see. Did he kill 8? Didn't he? It's from his point of view, he killed them, but we'll find out if he did or he didn't. There's a lot of subjectiveness in this chapter, especially with how he thinks and how he acts. With anything, actually. Stuff doesn't tend to stay dead in the Warden, unless it's killed and it's dead already. So, like killing Elsie, then she's dead, but for now she's just dead. That usually tends to be the case when people die in there, brutally and horribly. They have a nasty habit of coming back and biting you in the ass. With that though, that'll wrap up chapters 7 and 8. Brief audio notes again. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be back on Monday with chapters 9 and 10. And thank you for tuning in. Please give a like, a subscribe, and I will link the book or my books in the description. Thank you all again. Take care. Bye.